And I'll call the Pelican Preserve Advisory Committee meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Roll call, we've got Marty, Tom, Alan, self, Ed, and Peggy is online, so I make a motion to allow Peggy to fully participate in the meeting remotely due to exceptional circumstances. Seconded by Alan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Peggy, you're legit now.
Okay, try that. You have to unmute out.
Okay, yeah, now I can speak.
Georgia said there was
Thank
a
you.
lot of interference when you first joined, so she muted you.
Welcome, Peggy.
Thank you.
Are there any public comments?
I think for the very first time in all of the PPAC meetings that I've been in, we have one. It is a non-agenda item regarding the front entrance from Mrs. Carol Pancaw. You get to be on this side now. You get 3 minutes. And I won't start the time till after you announce yourself.
Thank you. Carol Pancaw, Avila Circle in Pelican Preserve. Over the past year or so, I have heard different people comment from time to time that maybe it's time to look at the front entrance of Pelican Preserve as a whole. Not, and I don't know, maybe when it was spruced up. I know it was painted last year. And it looks fresher and nicer and all that sort of stuff. And we've done stuff to make the fountains go higher and all that sort of stuff. But in some respects, it just kind of looks a little tired. It looks normal. It doesn't look pizzazzy or anything unique or whatever. And I've heard people say that when they're coming south off of Colonial on Tree Line, you can see the sign that says Pelican Preserve as you turn in. But when you're going north on Tree Line from like the airport, because of that curve, it isn't until you get around the curve and or maybe stopped at the stoplight do you see the entrance into Pelican Preserve. I mean, we all know it's there, but if someone were looking for it, maybe there needs to be something. So I thought, knowing the talent that is in Pelican Preserve, I was wondering if the PPAC would like to take on a project of maybe reaching out to the Pelican Preserve community and see if there aren't some architects or something like that, some talent that's there already that could maybe work on this for a period of time, so that maybe next year at this time we might look at budgeting something to do something different in the front. So I'm not looking for anything right now. I just think we should start looking at this as a long-term project. And I think it will involve all three of our subcommittees. So I think the proper place for it to start would be here at PPAC. And I don't know if you guys want to, I don't know what you want to do. But I just want to kind of put the idea in your head that maybe into the future now, we should look at some point to kind of make our entrance a little more, I don't know, pizzazzy, something. I don't know what, because that's not my field of expertise. I have very little expertise, but but it just seems like maybe it's time for a refresh. Thank you.
That was perfect.
Thanks, Carol. I know it's been talked about, think about it, and there was some in the future capital projections, maybe replicating the monument that's on the south side, on the north side, so that you had a monument on either side. But I know from the safety and security, we've delayed quite a few things because we're going to be replacing the street lights. There's a lot of concern about the lighting at the entrance and maybe doing something, but we wanted to wait until we get the new street lights in to see how much that fixes it. I knew that the gates are going to have to be replaced because they're at their end of life and they keep failing. And so as part of that, we might fix a lot of the little boxes that are all of them cluttering up the entrance. But so there are several things, but the timing might be, a couple of years from now. So it's a good time to start thinking about it anyway.
Yeah, Bob Gephardt from Brenham, to your point, I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago, we actually appropriated, I think, $260,000 out of reserves to consider what we might do to change, as Carol said, the entrance. And one of the items of discussion was the possibility of duplicating a welcoming sign on the northern portion. So that was, I know that it's currently a topic item in the landscape committee. And as you said, incorporating in this was the appearance at the guardhouse, because right now it's pretty crappy looking. Yeah. We got cones stored out back, we've got bricks, so there's opportunities to do it better. I like what Carol said, to get it done. If we get residents that have expertise, that'd be great. But if we don't, it's probably worth a few bucks to get a consultant to go do it for us. So I totally agree with the sentiment, and I think it's long overdue, but it's not a rush to do. Thank you.
So maybe we can think about it and maybe put it on in a couple of months for a topic of discussion. So
Carol's been preaching what my wife has been saying for some time. It does need some pizzazz, is what you're saying. And I agree with you also, Carol, that there's a lot of residents who have some great ideas and are pretty artistic about things. And before I would spend any money, this might be personally, but for some sort of an expert to come in here, I think we ought to let some of the residents who we can identify as having some of those kinds of artistic ideas, let them do their thing first. And then, it also requires a budget, so that's something that I guess our group can work on.
Maybe we could put out a communication looking for volunteers.
That's what I wrote down a note, just call for volunteers, reference redesign front landscape proposal. Anything.
No.
They get a committee, ad hoc committee, that if they're interested, if we can find them, they would design it. I think that, Ed, you made a point, though, we have to be aware of the timing as it relates to the streetlights, but the streetlights, the project of designing could take place before the streetlights, as long as they know what the streetlights are going to look like, but the project of actually doing the work shouldn't happen until after the streetlights have been put in place.
But even the awning on the gatehouse is way out of color.
But just the whole design, yeah. I use the word landscape, but the whole design. Yeah.
So Laura, can we put out an email blast looking for volunteers for that?
We can write.
My suggestion would be is we have a great communication person on our committee right now. Maybe we need to have her come back and think about this, and she can figure out what kind of communication we need to the committee or to the community.
She and Randy can work on that together.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have Randy involved. I don't want any staff involved on any of these projects that we can do ourselves.
Understood.
We've been told very, very clearly by Chelsea that we do not have the authority to send out any communications about any CDD assets without Randy having control over it. So that is not an option.
I'm one word vendor, and I do not agree with that.
And I don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't agree with that interpretation. I don't. This is, they are not doing anything with any of the CDD assets. They are merely developing a plan to propose to us, which would then go to the CDD asset concept. So I don't agree.
I don't disagree with your statement. I'm just saying we have been told very clearly that we are not to send out any communication without Randy having crafted it and agreed to it. We're going to have more conversation on 8B about the communication plan. So let's table it for now.
Okay. I think there's a timing too of when we would want to do the search, because, you know, right now it's a slow season. A lot of
Right.
people aren't here. A lot of people will be here, you know, during the high season. So we may actually want to take 2 or 3 months and then do the search when people are starting to come back for the winter.
Let's see if Patricia wants to take on that project.
Yeah.
So this is Marty. I have a public comment here. I'd like to give a shout out to the staff for putting up the new round mirrors going around the preserve.
Marty's
I
mirrors?
The round mirrors. So thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. All the posts now have bright decals that make them very visible.
I saw you standing there looking in the mirror the other day. So.
So should we put this on as a topic of conversation for like the September meeting?
When are most of your people back? Probably not till like November, December, I'm guessing.
Yeah. but
I think we could put it out in October and we'd be fairly safe.
Okay, okay, so you want it on your September meeting or October meeting? You meet
Let's
pretty
put
early in the month.
Put it on the September meeting for discussion and hopefully we can execute in October.
Okay,
Okay, we're down to approval of the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve items 5 Alpha and 5 Bravo as written.
That's the minutes for the April 10th PPAC meeting and the May 8th PPAC meeting.
That's correct.
All those in favor say aye.
I actually have a real problem with the May 8th minutes because it's so light on detail. It's basically just saying we came, we sat, we talked, we adjourned. I mean, we had many comments. So-and-so had many comments. It's like, that's not meeting minutes. That's not telling us what was talked about, discussed, anything. So I was extremely disappointed in those.
Peggy, I'm going to comment a minute in interpretation of minutes. Minutes are merely an action item. If the conversation is not necessarily part of minutes, you can say a conversation took place, but to say Ed said this, Alan said this, Tom said that, that is not minutes.
correct. What we pay for and what, it's the same for the Board of Supervisors. We do not get verbatim minutes, which is what you're talking about. They're meant to be a summary. That there was a topic, this person spoke, if there was a vote, it's like, what was the motion, who made it, who seconded it, and what was the result? That's why we have the YouTube with the recordings on there to follow up if somebody wanted verbatim. Minutes are not meant, I agree, they're not meant to be verbatim.
They're dangerous.
Regardless, I thought they were so light in any content, they were next to useless. That's my statement.
I wasn't here, so that's why they were late.
Yeah, we had a quorum for me.
So Peggy, is it just you or did you say you got comments from some other people?
No, haven't heard any comments from other people. That was my comment.
So we had a motion. Do we have a second? To approve?
Second.
Tom seconds. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Passed unanimously. Financial report.
I do not have June yet, or I would have pulled that up for you like I did the last time. She works out of state. They have a massive internet outage where she is right now, so the financials were actually due today, but we do not have them yet.
Are these?
These are May.
May's.
Yeah, I don't have June's because we didn't get them yet. Well, that's normal for your meeting anyway. It's like a whole month behind. But if I had June's, I would pull them up for you, but I don't have them.
So we saw both.
This is what you guys look, I think I pulled this up last month while you were in here. 'Cause I
Yeah,
hadn't done
Yeah, you
it.
did.
Mine last month was based on May too, so.
So nothing changed.
I have no
There's
comment.
I will
No
say
big
that
movement.
what I pointed out last month, as of the end of May, doesn't really show up on here, but if none of the cost of the admin building hit this year, which they're not expected to, I think it will, that we will have right at 750,000 in unassigned reserves. Or more. You know,
Carry
it's kind of-
forward. You're talking carry forward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we look towards budget discussion and that, we basically have, you know, unassigned carry forward of at least probably 750 going from this year into next year. 26.
Yeah, I was going to say, we know they're spent. It's just a matter of when they pull.
I would expect the bonds to cover the expenses for the rest of this fiscal year. Yeah.
And we've had discussion as to whether we want to go ahead and tap into reserves. We probably want to reconsider whether you want to take that
Yep.
out of
Well,
reserves.
that'll be for the
I
budget
figured that
discussion.
when we had the budget
but-
discussion, we'll do that. You gave me some homework, I did it, so.
Okay. Any other comments or on financial report?
Nope.
Okay. We don't need to vote on anything there, so let's go on to subcommittee updates. Did we have?
Doug's here.
Doug, did you want to?
I'll go through it quickly. But I do, when we get the budget, I want to include a discussion on how we do the restoration to 600K to make sure we're all on the same page as part of the budget for next year. Doug Zanter, I'm the president of the Pelican Preserve Pond Subcommittee. Just go through a quick status, 47 and 48. That's the restoration that just been completed. The littorals are planted. It's completely done right now. The water level's back and we don't have an issue with the littorals that were just planted. They're growing great. The pond.
Doug, if we get any more rain, people are going to be complaining
I
because
know.
they're overfull.
Yes, I'll send them to you, Ed.
You can't win. Too full,
Yeah.
not full enough.
Yeah. The pond maintenance contract that we, or the PPAC sent to the Board of Supervisors for, as a recommendation, go with Superior, was approved at the June 10th meeting, so that contract has been completed. Later on in the agenda, there's 2 ITQs for the conservation. The Ponds Group will make a recommendation to you for the conservation and also the aeration and fountain maintenance. So that will be later on. And then after the day, the last step will be next Thursday of the 17th, asking the Board of Supervisors for approval on that. The littoral planting on Pond 36 is complete now, and that there's nothing left to be done. So that pond is also completed. Go down a little more is the boardwalk conservation area. That was staff took about a half a day to take down the bollard at the Sienna entrance and attach 2 more. As you can see there, so the bollards are physically installed to allow ADA handicap access to the middle circle area. I think there's still a notification back to South Florida Water Management District that's being done, Paul.
Paul took care of it.
Yeah, so I think everything is complete on that right now.
Did we actually send out, Doug, did we actually send out a communication? I know there was one in draft, but I never saw it come through.
That's because it never went out, so that's.
That's why.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's part of the thing. We don't need to talk about that now. You can talk about that later.
Will there
Okay.
be a communication going out?
Well, it's drafted. I mean, it's more than drafted, but the answer is nothing.
It's ready to go, but
Yes.
No, it's not.
we're waiting on CDD.
And just so you know, 2 other things. We had an alligator removed from our pond a while back. I think, Alan, it was on one of you, right by you. And we actually changed direction there. Staff actually removed it. The maintenance group removed the alligator, dead alligator on the bank. And before that, what we told, we would just push it into the pond and let nature take its course. but that policy changed with the removal of this one. I think you guys had,
We know,
What?
and normally that's what we do.
well,
We
normally
got so
we
many
did not.
calls and because it ended up on the news, which is why.
Well, I know,
called.
you're
So,
talking,
yeah.
but this year we
Yeah.
changed, but before that, they just, I
Yeah,
had multiple where they were pushed into the pond because the state does not handle dead ones. They'll come out and get a live one, but not a dead one.
Do you know what killed the alligator, just out of curiosity?
It-
Yeah,
it was mating season.
mating season,
So
they
they're,
fight,
we had
Oh,
we had
okay.
3 in 1 week.
they fight,
So.
and
yeah.
the stronger survive.
Right, no,
Yep.
just curious.
And the other thing is, it was already said, I'm calling them Marty's mirrors were installed. He's the one that requested these mirrors.
So now you
around the
Bridger and Mears,
Yes,
got it.
they were installed by staff at the same time they did the ballards. That's all I have, unless there's a question.
So now he's got bridges and mirrors.
Yes, he
Yep.
does. He's good at mirrors.
Quick, go back, on the page before, you indicated that, were we supposed to approve something here today?
Yeah,
It's
later
next-
on,
it's
it's on
later.
the agenda.
Just an update and add on to your thing. I just checked with Chelsea. She said that they were waiting for all of the work to be completed on the boardwalk before they sent the communication out. It's set to go out next week.
Just to
Okay.
note that it's already been very rampant on social media about what it is, why it is. So the sooner the better.
Okay.
Does,
Go on.
while we're discussing that, does it emphasize that the golf carts should have a ADA sticker on them from PPACA?
I haven't seen it. I have no idea.
I think from the draft I saw, it's going to refer to what a handicap sticker on the golf, what the requirement is from KW for the community. So the answer is yes, but it was in there in the draft I see.
There's no plan for any type of enforcement, is there?
Zero, unless you want to do that.
Oh,
No,
just
and
asking, because that's.
and there will not be any sign that says handicap parking or anything within the boardwalk in that bigger area. There was talk about putting a sign up there, but then there's, the
Overkill.
answer is no.
Don't overthink it.
Yes. Yes. Don't overthink it.
And it's,
What?
if it is abused, we can take it back to its original design, or do we have to go
What-
through?
No, we could take it out. We could take them out. There's 4 bolts on each of these.
Right.
There's just 4 bolts, and so 8 bolts, and they were all done above the thing. You don't have to crawl underneath and get rid of them. You could probably get both of them out of there.
Taking them out is not an issue, really. It would be putting the other one back if you've got abuse going on.
Well, the thing in the ground that stuck the bollard into was not removed. It's there. It's just got a cap over top of it.
Okay.
So it wouldn't take long at all to go out there and put it back to where it was. Okay?
Thank you.
You mean if someone gets run over or something?
No, I just meant in general abuse, if people start, if
Right.
Willie's watching.
So now we have a spare bollard, right? Do we know where we put it?
I know where it ought to be put.
It's $80 if we have to replace it.
Okay.
Just for your information, Carol Pancaw again. I had lunch with Chelsea this week and we talked about communications. And I tried to emphasize to Chelsea the difference in the tone, which it seemed like the 2 different versions of the emails we're having. And so Patricia comes back next week. And Patricia and I and Chelsea are going to have lunch on the 23rd. And I would also ask you to maybe postpone the plan. You can discuss it today, but just don't adopt anything. Because I think Patricia would like to have some input on the monthly emails going out and what they would do. I think she has great talent. And I think we should let her blossom, so to speak. I think the staff could look at it for accuracy, but tone and concept and how it's presented, I think we could leave that in Patricia's trustworthy hands. So I'd like to kind of get that smoothed out before we talk about a plan, either here at PPAC or at the board level.
I was gonna recommend that we table that item to next month so Patricia
When we
could be
get there-
here.
When we
Yep.
get to it.
I agree.
Question. Will that impact the communications on this project?
No, it's done already.
Well, it's not done.
Well, the communication is complete. We were just waiting to send it out until the project was done
There's
as well. so
disagreement on the wording of the communications right now.
There's
between
been
one-
disagreements on the wording of the communications as long as I can remember.
But
I understand.
there is no plan, there is no policy. So my opinion, and that's all it is my opinion, Patricia's original document should go. We need to get it out. We're tremendous misinformation's out there because of on Facebook.
I agree.
This is Chelsea. As this is a sensitive subject, the language that Randy drafted is what will be going out next week. So if you have any questions, you can contact me directly.
I
But
disagree with, I think Patricia should go.
I understand and I hear what you're saying, but the management of the district falls on the district manager and that falls within communications. And so Randy's message will be what goes out next week for this.
Will Randy be responding to every one of the statements of misinformation that appears on the Pelican Preserve for All Facebook page, or will some other resident, including us, be responsible for doing that?
We don't have access to that Facebook page, but any resident who calls with questions, we'd be happy to answer.
But if somebody puts out misinformation, should one of us correct it with our tone and our facts?
You can encourage them to contact the district if they have questions.
Will the communication that goes out identify that the communication was not approved by PPAC?
No.
PPAC has not approved any prior communications that the district has put out. So again, this goes back to a policy needs to be made by the board if this is how we want to proceed. And that's why we're also trying to meet with Patricia when she gets back so we can put a true plan in place, have PPCA perhaps look at it, Faye, and get their agreement, and then we can proceed.
Chelsea, this is Bob. Don't put anything out that hasn't been approved by the board, the full board. This is an item that is not policy. This is communication. There's nothing that restricts PPAC from putting out communication. Never has restricted us and shouldn't in the future until the board opines on it. I hear you loud and clear, but don't put anything out until the board has approved it, please.
Okay, the board can, then this can be brought up at the board level next Thursday.
Absolutely.
But the board has not approved any prior communications that the district has put out. That is a management perspective. That is a management aspect.
So, but let me get, because I'm interested in getting, this is Tom, Chelsea, I'm interested in getting this communications out. There is no policy, so there's nothing that prohibits PPAC from sending out something at this time.
If it's on behalf of the district,
Is
That
there
has to
a
come-
policy? I'm asking, is there a stated policy at this time that would preclude what's been done in the past, which PPAC has put out communications on its own being?
since I've been here, PPAC has not put out communications without district input or approval. So there, to directly answer your question, there is no current policy, but the management of the district falls upon the district manager.
But the history is we've done it historically.
Bob, I understand that.
Well, okay. So we don't
And
have
again,
to-
this can be brought up at the board level next Thursday.
So I'm going to answer somebody on Facebook.